I am completely agree with all the obstacles and with all the enemies who are between me and what I want to do. I see that they cooperate. They are in a providential manner. They help me to do exactly what I want. Because if I have not to fight, it is in the fighting that I can see better what I want to do. It is in the friction, do you say? Friction that things become more clear.
Considered one of the most influential and original filmmakers of his generation, Federico Fellini was acclaimed for his use of surreal, often grotesque imagery and for developing a fragmentary, nonlinear narrative style. Expanding on the techniques and methods of such neorealist directors as Roberto Rossellini and Alberto Lattuada, Fellini developed an unorthodox approach to filmmaking, often using non-professional actors and allowing his screenplays to evolve and change during the filming process. His style evolved from neorealism to fanciful neorealism to surrealism, in which he discarded narrative storylines for free-flowing, freewheeling memoirs. Fellini was born in Rimini, Italy on January 20th, 1920. He attended Catholic boarding schools during his youth, where he exhibited a flair for drawing. While in his teens, he left Rimini for Florence, where he worked as a proofreader and a cartoonist before enrolling in law school at the University of Rome. He did not attend any classes, but instead worked as a cartoonist and a short story writer for the satirical publication Mark Aurelio. In the late 1930s, he traveled throughout Italy with a vaudeville troupe, an experience he later described as a formative part of his artistic development. He then returned to Rome where, after World War II, he and several friends opened an arcade called the Funny Face Shop. It was at this time that he met Rossellini, who initiated Fellini's development as a director. Fellini worked on Rossellini's 1945 film, Rome Open City, and made his directorial debut in 1950 with Variety Lights. Throughout his career, Fellini forged highly successful collaborative relationships, most notably with actors Marcello Mastroianni and Giulietta Messina, his wife. Fellini's numerous European and American film awards include 4 Oscars for Best Foreign Film and a 1993 honorary Oscar for Lifetime Achievement.
This reads to Federico Fellini in appreciation of one of the screen's master storytellers. Congratulations. Can I give you a kiss?
Yes, I want it.
Okay.
Another one. Thank you, grazie.
Thank you very much.
Grazie, Marcellino. Sei venuto allora. What I can say? Well, I really did not expect it. Or perhaps I did, but not, but wait, but not before another 25 years.
Fellini's early films reveal the influence of Italian neorealism and his collaborations with Rossellini and Lattuada. Notable among his early works is La Strada in 1954, a poetic tragedy dealing with the suffering and social disruption of post-war Italy that foreshadows his career-long fascination with the Italian people and landscape. In subsequent films, Fellini continued to broaden the scope of neorealism to include autobiographical and subjective elements, often finding his visual metaphors in the flamboyant and the decadent images of circuses, carnivals, parades, and later, television. La Dolce Vita in 1960, a controversial portrait of modern Rome's hedonistic cafe society, is in many ways the apotheosis of Fellini's fascination with these aspects of life.
My goodness. Marcello, come here. Hurry up.
Silvia. Vengo anch'io. Vengo anch'io. Ma sì, ha ragione lei, sto sbagliando tutto. Stiamo sbagliando tutto. Silvia. Silvia, ma chi sei?
Listen.
Silvia.
The film established Fellini as a popular international figure. 8½, a semi-autobiographical work depicting the director who cannot determine the subject of the film he is making, is considered Fellini's masterpiece, as well as a landmark film that expanded the possibilities for personal expression in the cinema. The title signifies that Fellini considered this his 8½th film, with such later works as Ginger and Fred in 1986 and Intervista in 1987. Fellini adopted an introspective and nostalgic tone, frequently lamenting the commercialism and fragmentation that pervaded modern 20th century society. Some critics have observed that Fellini's reputation peaked during the mid-1960s with 8½, and some commentators have recently explained the rise and fall of Fellini's critical reputation by pointing to the popularity of several movements during the 1960s, including auteurism, which viewed film as a medium best understood as a purely individual expression of a director's vision. Just as Fellini's international recognition corresponded with the rise of auteurism and the European art film movement, his decline has paralleled theirs. 8½, marked the artistic culmination of a series of progressively original and controversial works by Fellini. Subsequent films, particularly those following Amarcord in 1976, were frequently dismissed by reviewers as redundant, simplistic, or excessively flamboyant. Despite the lack of critical consensus regarding the proper interpretation of his films, Fellini is widely considered a pioneering artist whose charismatic and distinctly personal style influenced an entire generation of filmmakers. Fellini died in Rome on October 31st, 1993, at the age of 73, a day after his 50th wedding anniversary to his wife, Giulietta, who died 5 months later.
In these circumstances, it's easy to be generous and to thank everybody. I would like, naturally, first of all, to thank all the people that have worked with me. I cannot nominate everyone. Let me make only one name of an actress who is also my wife. Thank you, dearest Giulietta, and please stop crying. Grazie.
A day after his 50th wedding anniversary to his wife, Giulietta, who died 5 months later. Cut.